Have you ever stopped to think about the impact you have on the people around you? Not just in grand, life-altering ways, but in the small, seemingly insignificant moments. The way you listen, the way you show up, the way you make someone feel when they're in your presence. Because here's the truth, most of us walk through life completely unaware of how deeply we affect others. We get so caught up in our own problems, our own goals, our own struggles, that we forget how much our presence truly matters. And it's only when someone disappears, when they walk away, when they move on, when they're gone, that we realize just how powerful that presence really was. Think about a time when someone important in your life left. Maybe it was a friend, a mentor, a family member, or even a partner. At first, you probably didn't think much of it. Life kept moving. The world didn't stop spinning. But then, as the days passed, something strange happened. You started noticing the little things they used to do. The way they always knew exactly what to say when you were struggling. The way they made you laugh at the most unexpected moments. The way they challenged you, pushed you, believed in you even when you didn't believe in yourself. And suddenly their absence became more than just a missing person. It became a missing piece. Why? Because presence is power. And you don't fully understand that power until it's gone. Imagine a room. It could be an office, a home, a gym, anywhere. Now imagine someone walks into that room full of energy, confidence, and warmth. You don't even have to turn around to know they're there. You can feel it. Their energy shifts the space. Their presence demands attention, not because they're loud or flashy, but because they are fully there. They bring something intangible, something real, something magnetic. Now picture the opposite, someone who walks in but isn't really there. They're distracted, they're on their phone, they're physically present, but emotionally, mentally, they might as well be 1,000,000 miles away. And when they leave, nobody even notices. This is the difference between someone who is truly present and someone who is just existing. The reality is, we don't get to control when or how we leave people's lives. Sometimes circumstances change. Sometimes people grow apart. Sometimes life has a way of pulling us in different directions. But what we do control is the way we show up while we're here. Because here's what happens when you disappear from someone's life. They don't just remember the big moments. They remember the way you made them feel. They remember your presence or the lack of it. And that memory, that feeling stays with them. Maybe they remember how you always stopped what you were doing to look them in the eyes when they spoke. Maybe they remember how you laughed at their jokes even when nobody else did. Maybe they remember the way you believed in them when they felt like a failure. Or maybe they remember something else. Maybe they remember that you were always too busy, that you were always half listening, half engaged, that you were physically there but emotionally absent. And when you were gone, it didn't really feel like a loss because you were never fully there to begin with. This is why presence is so powerful. It's not just about being somewhere, it's about how you show up when you are. It's about making people feel seen, heard, valued. It's about creating moments that even in your absence continue to live on in the hearts and minds of those you touched. And the most incredible thing, presence doesn't require wealth, status, or talent. It's not about being the smartest person in the room. It's not about having all the right answers. It's about a simple decision to be here fully right now. Because at the end of the day, people won't remember the things you said nearly as much as they'll remember how you made them feel. And the way you make them feel, that all starts with the power of your presence. Loss is one of the most powerful forces in life. When someone disappears, whether by choice, by accident, or by fate, it triggers something deep inside us. It forces us to reflect, to analyze, to feel. And in that moment, when their absence becomes real, we stand at a crossroads. We either fall into regret or we rise into growth. Regret is a heavy chain. It latches onto the mind, replaying past mistakes over and over again. I should have reached out more. I should have said I was sorry. I should have appreciated them while they were still here. Regret makes us a prisoner of the past, trapping us in a loop of what-ifs and missed opportunities. But growth is different. Growth takes that same pain, that same loss, and turns it into something powerful. Growth says, I didn't do enough then, but I will now. Growth says, I'll never take someone for granted again. Growth says, this is my lesson and I will carry it forward. So why do some people drown in regret while others use loss as a catalyst for transformation? It all comes down to how they process the experience. Imagine two people who lose the same mentor, the same friend, the same loved one. The first person spends years stuck in regret. They think about every conversation they cut short, every moment they let slip by, every time they prioritize something meaningless over something real. They feel guilt, they feel pain, but they do nothing with it. It consumes them, it drains them, it leaves them stuck. The second person feels the same pain, but they channel it differently. Instead of dwelling on what they didn't do, they focus on what they can do now. They ask themselves, what did this person teach me? How can I honor their influence? How can I make sure I never make the same mistake again? The difference isn't in the pain itself. The pain is the same. The difference is in the mindset. One person lets the pain destroy them. The other lets the pain transform them. And here's the truth. Everyone at some point will face this choice because loss is inevitable. People will leave, relationships will change, life will shift in ways we never expected. And when that happens, we have two options. We can carry the weight of regret, or we can use that pain to grow. The real question is, how do we avoid regret in the first place? Regret comes from a lack of action. It comes from all the things we didn't do, didn't say, didn't give. When we are fully present, when we express gratitude, when we show up for the people we care about, regret has no room to exist. But when we take people for granted, when we assume they'll always be there, when we postpone the conversations we need to have, when we let pride or fear hold us back, that's when regret creeps in. Growth, on the other hand, comes from awareness. It comes from recognizing in the present moment that time is not guaranteed, that opportunities don't last forever, that every interaction is a chance to either build a deeper connection or let it slip away. The challenge is most people don't think this way until it's too late. They only realize the value of someone's presence after they're gone. And that's when the flood of regret starts pouring in. The unanswered texts, the visits they kept putting off, the little moments they dismissed because they thought they'd have more time. But time doesn't wait. People don't wait. And life moves forward whether we're ready or not. There's an old saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. The same applies to relationship. Maybe you should have reached out before. Maybe you should have said what was on your heart. Maybe you should have done things differently. But the past is gone. The only thing that matters now is what you do next, because regret is a choice. And so is growth. Every action you take, every word you speak, every moment you share with someone, it all leaves a mark. You may not realize it in the moment, but long after you're gone, those pieces of you remain. People don't just remember what you did. They remember how you made them feel. They remember the lessons you taught them, the way you spoke to them, the energy you carried into a room. And whether you realize it or not, you are constantly shaping the way people think, feel, and act. That's your influence. Now, here's the question. What kind of influence are you leaving behind? Think about someone who once played a major role in your life, someone who's no longer around. Maybe it's a teacher, a mentor, a family member, a close friend. Even though they're not here, you can still hear their voice in certain moments. When you face a challenge, maybe you remember the advice they once gave you. And when you're struggling, maybe you think about the way they supported you. That's the echo of influence. When you disappear from someone's life, you don't just vanish, a part of you stays. And that part can either be something that lifts them up or something that weighs them down. There are people whose absence leaves a hole, an emptiness that drags others into pain, resentment, or confusion. Maybe they cause hurt that was never repaired. Maybe they never took the time to truly connect. Maybe they left behind words that cut deep, words that still echo in someone's mind every time they doubt themselves. And then there are people whose absence becomes a light. They leave behind wisdom, strength, and a feeling of deep gratitude. Even in their absence, they continue to inspire. Their words still give confidence. Their lessons still shape decision. Their kindness still creates a ripple effect that moves through time. That's the power of influence. The most incredible part, you don't have to be famous. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to have thousands of followers or a big platform. Influence isn't about status, it's about presence, about impact, about the way you choose to show up every single day. A small act of kindness can live on in someone's heart for decades. A word of encouragement can be the difference between someone giving up or pushing forward. A single moment of belief, just you looking at someone and saying, I see something in you, can change the course of their entire life. At the same time, negativity leaves just as strong of a mark. A careless comment can plant a seed of doubt that lasts for years. A moment of indifference can make someone feel invisible. The way you treat people, even in passing, even when you think it doesn't matter, leaves an impression that stays long after you're gone. So what are you leaving behind? Because whether you realize it or not, you are writing your legacy in real time. You are creating echoes that will live beyond you. And when the day comes that you're no longer in someone's life, those echoes will either be a source of strength or a source of pain. And the choice, that's yours. We live like we have all the time in the world. We assume there will always be another conversation, another opportunity, another tomorrow. But what if there isn't? What if the person you love, the person you see every day, the person you keep telling yourself you'll call soon, what if they were gone tomorrow? What if this moment right now was the last chance you had to tell them what they mean to you? Most people don't think this way. They don't wake up with the urgency to truly live, to truly connect, to truly appreciate the people around them. They drift through life as if it's infinite. They put things off, conversations, apologies, dreams, because they think they have time. And then one day, time runs out. It happens in an instant. A goodbye becomes the last goodbye. A missed call becomes the call you'll never get back. A chance to say, I love you, I'm proud of you, or even just I see you is lost forever. And that's when it hits, the regret, the realization that all those little moments, all those things they thought were small, were actually everything. Why do we wait? Why do we need loss to wake us up? Why does it take someone disappearing from our lives to make us realize what they meant to us? Because we're distracted. We're caught up in things that don't matter. We let our egos keep us from saying, I'm sorry. We let our fears stop us from being vulnerable. We let our pride keep us from reaching out first. And while we're busy hesitating, life is moving forward. Think about the people in your life right now, the ones who support you, who challenge you, who stand by you even when you're at your worst. Have you told them what they mean to you? Have you shown up for them the way they show up for you? Have you been fully present, or have you just been assuming they'll always be there? Because one day, they won't be. And on that day, you won't care about the excuses. You won't care about the little arguments. You won't care about all the reasons you told yourself to wait. You'll only care about one thing. Did I love them enough while I had the chance? The truth is, we don't get second chances at life. We don't get to rewind and do it over. We only get right now. And right now is when you decide what kind of life you're going to live. Right now is when you choose to stop waiting. Right now is when you pick up the phone, have the conversation, forgive, love, and be present. Because the people in your life are here today. But tomorrow isn't promised.